what we've got to do is stop this nonsensical violence. And I keep saying the nonsensical violence on the right is magnified because the opposition party media lives to create monsters on the right that I don't think really exist. I happen to think these radicals, these far-right fringe groups, are so tiny and so irrelevant as to overwhelm the real message of the populist nationalist movement, which is really a working class and middle class movement in this country that's trying to essentially take the country back from this permanent political class in Washington, D.C. That's a winner. That movement will have 25% of Bernie's people that are economic nationalists. It'll have 1/3 to 40 or 50% of African Americans that understand and agree with Trump's economic policies, and it'll have 1/3 to 40 or 50% of Hispanics. And that governing coalition will be like 1932. And by the way, if there are people out there, these kind of ethno-nationalists that don't like that, they can go fuck themselves. I don't give a shit, right? Because they're irrelevant. What's relevant is building a coalition here of working class people and middle class people that can take the country back. And this is not an ethno-nationalist movement. This is a civic or economic nationalist movement. And it's a winner. It's definitely a winner. You can just see the math. And I know we can get these people back. I know they're giving Trump a hard look right now. They may not vote for Trump this time on November 2006, but a lot of them didn't vote for Hillary Clinton last time. They may take a pass this time, but not support a Democrat. We are certainly we could be very competitive at getting these votes in 2020 and then have a realignment like 1932. That's the entire mission I've been working on for 9 years and, probably work on for another 9 or 10 years.
Well, yeah, what we're seeing is a populist movement with all these sort of niche leaders. So, for example, you have Candace Owens leading Brexit. You have even Beto O'Rourke now trying to run as a left-wing economic populist. You have Tulsi Gabbard. So what happens if the left actually gets smart and they reject this divisive, angry identity politics, and you have Tulsi Gabbard and Beto O'Rourke running in 2020?
Well, hold it. I tell you, and Seth Moulton, here's the thing. This is the debate in Toronto was about on Friday night, for your listeners. The future is populism globally. You can see that in Hungary, in Italy, in what's happening in Europe, and Captain Bolsonaro in Brazil. The future is populism. Here's the only question before us, whether it's going to be populist nationalism as represented by Donald Trump or populist socialism as represented by O'Rourke and Corbin in England and Bernie Sanders. And here's the difference. Remember, a central plank of the Trump agenda is three things I laid out in CPAC. Economic nationalism, number one. America First national security is number two. And deconstructing the administrative state. And what that means is taking this massive government bureaucracy, the Leviathan, apart brick by brick. And that's what he's doing. It's much deeper than deregulation. It's actually taking apart these agencies and getting them out of this kind of nanny state involvement in people's lives. Look, we're not libertarians and we're not anarchists, right? We know we need a healthy state, but you don't need an overweening state. The difference in left-wing populism is that these guys, essentially the left-wing populist socialism wants more intrusion of your state into your lives, and quite frankly, they are globalists. And that's why, look, there is 1/3, 25% to 1/3 of Bernie's people are economic nationalists. There is nothing that stops us from getting those people in one or two election cycles. So once we have that, and we have 1/3 to 40% of African American working class and middle class that Trump's policies are working for, 1/3 to 40 or 50% of Hispanics, 30 to 50% of the Asian Americans, that coalition of working class people that believe in capitalism but believe in the accountability of capitalism and stop this crony capitalism in Washington, D.C. and break the permanent political class like President Trump's trying to do. Once we do that, that's a governing coalition for 50 years. That's why the left's so hysterical. That's where the attacks come. That's why they don't want to debate, Mike. They never want to debate the facts. On Trump's economic numbers on Friday, they don't want to do that. They want to call you a nativist, a racist, a xenophobe, an anti-Semite, a homophobe. And that's why I said in France, when they get to those accusations, they don't want to argue the merits of the policies. Once they get those accusations, wear those accusations as a badge of honor. And here's why. That means you're winning. They're in the cul-de-sac of identity politics. They can't get out of it. They can't build a governing coalition around it. And we can continue to win. And that's why I think this November, on Tuesday, is such an important day for us to keep the driving momentum in this program.